Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nintendo Pow Block's Direct Recap Show, the only Nintendo Direct reaction show that matters. I'm your host, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me tonight is Dan, who just bought 3 games.
Well, if we didn't start any sooner, it would have been up to 10.
Could have been. Stephanie.
Hey.
Galutrad.
Metroid Dread.
And Greysun Morales.
What's up? What's up?
Hi, guys. We just had the best Direct we've had in, like, years, I would say.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yep.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Except for maybe Facebook and half of the trolls out there were saying that was the worst Direct ever. One person was like, "I'm disgusted."
What? How?
High hopes, low expectations.
Yeah, he's like, "I wasted my lunch hour." I'm like, "All right, dude, pump the brakes."
Wow. Wow. I don't understand the internet, but you know what I do understand? That this Direct was awesome. I got almost everything I wanted out of this Direct and more. We got a new Metroid game, guys. New Metroid game.
That's insane.
New. Not only is it new Metroid game, I was telling Jacob and I were talking before the show, and I was telling my wife outside who doesn't care about anything that I'm talking about. But she's the only person in my real life that has to listen to this. So, Metroid Dread was rumored and almost announced when I was in high school, like 16 years ago.
Oh.
So, I remember it was rumored originally for the Game Boy Advance or the DS was what it was originally planned for.
Yeah.
And then it just never happened. Oh. And then,
That's insane.
When the trailer started, it said Metroid 5, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool. Like that, Metroid something. That's cool." Like I was expecting a Samus Returns port to Switch, which I would have been perfectly fine with, right? The fact we're getting Metroid Dread with the red letters and like the
So cool.
So sick.
I know.
Absolute atmosphere.
Well, the best thing is, at least in my opinion, when I looked at the trailer, it's definitely got that ability to attract non-Metroid fans or new Metroid fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got everything.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
It's so good. The new suit looks cool.
So clean.
Oh, it's like the environments they showed off look great. It just clearly running at 60 frames a second, which I'm kind of surprised at, which makes it look so much cleaner and better.
Yeah.
Oh, looks so good.
This might be the most beautiful game on Switch up to this point, and that's including some of the other stuff that they announced in this Direct as well. And I think a lot of that lends itself to the fact that it is a side-scrolling game, and so they can do a lot more with the engine because they only have to process what's on screen and not what's out to the side.
Did they say who's developing this? Did they release that information yet?
The same company that made Metroid Samus Returns.
Oh, really?
So,
Mercury
Steam, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Good for them.
that surprises me actually, because I mean they've been kind of hit or miss, right? Mercury Steam, especially because they did the Castlevania games on
The handheld ones?
yeah.
The DS one?
Yeah. No, they did
Mercury Steam did.
They did not the ones
Circle
everybody likes, the ones, the Shadows, and what was it?
It was on 3DS, I think.
Yeah,
The
and
Lords of Shadow.
yeah, Lords of Shadow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but
Okay.
then everybody seemed to like Samus Returns, right? I mean, I know it was kind of a remake, but a lot of people seem to like it. So with Nintendo's oversight, I have faith. I have faith in this. So,
I'm sorry. Real quick, Tan, did you just throw a Chucky doll for your dog to get?
See, I told you he looked like Chucky.
No, we got a Biden doll and a Trump doll during the election, and that's the Trump doll. It's hideous.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Like a
sorry. I
cross-
don't mean to derail, Corey. I just
Wow.
threw me off so bad.
Oh, that's
oh my gosh, I don't. Wow, that's
Is that thing horrible?
it's
Look at this.
accurate.
just like him.
It's too white. It needs a little bit of orange paste on his face.
Well, he likes to rip out the hair, so.
They did an orange head and a white body. They should have done it like the other way around.
Yeah.
It's a dog toy.
But before we really dive deep into these things, what was everybody's initial thoughts? We already talked about how the internet hated it, but what's everybody's thoughts on the Direct?
I loved it.
Let me to piggyback off that. I think that Nintendo did a great job diversifying the amount of games they put out. I was working on the Boss Rush banter for tomorrow, and I counted because I rewatched the direct, almost 24 games that they showed. I mean, some of them we knew about, and they're coming out soon. And Shinya Takahashi said, we've been able to offer a wide variety of games for the system, not just from Nintendo, but also from our many development and publishing partners. And I hope that each of you watching this Nintendo Direct will be able to find a game that suits your personal taste. And I really feel like Nintendo hit a home run by providing games that will appeal to all walks of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What, Jacob?
I agree. To piggyback off of Stephanie, I agree completely. My Rebellion and I were talking about how she specifically was talking about how it's a lot easier to name the games that didn't interest you in this one than it was to name the games that did.
Exactly.
Because it was just a much smaller list, and it was very refreshing to get a direct that actually did have something for everybody. Because usually in the past, it just feels like there's been a lot of great games, but then there's like that chunk of time that's like an I don't care about this sort of thing. But this time it was very quick. Very rapid fire to get all 24 games out like that, and I think that they did a really good job of pacing it out for like they didn't front load it and they didn't back load it with anything. They put everything.
Excuse me, they backloaded it with awesome footage of Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah, but it wasn't like here's Metroid, and then here's Breath of the Wild.
No, I know what you mean, but yeah, man, gosh.
So good.
It's so good. It was so good. I want to watch it again. I've watched it twice now.
Well, the thing that I think separated this from a lot of the other presentations is that it had more shadow drops than pretty much anybody presented. Like, there was a lot of stuff on there that we didn't know about. And like Metroid was a big shock. The way they kicked it off with having Ganon being carried to the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
That messed me up. I was
my God.
what is happening?
I was losing my mind. I thought they were going to kick it off with Breath of the Wild too. And it was crazy. It was paced out so well. I think there was a game that there had to have been at least 2 games that anybody liked in there. But having just a few extra shadow drops seemed really, really cool about this. Like, bringing back Advance Wars. Who saw that coming?
No one, because everybody thought Advance Wars was dead, right? Like, dude, Advance Wars looked so good. I love the art style. It's so clean and simple and just like really cute and just like I'm ready to. Oh, dude, I gotta sell everything in here.
Every single one of those games.
Every single one of them.
Almost every single one of them. I didn't like one of them.
I mean, I could say there's probably maybe 2 or 3 games on there that I'm just like, I'll probably skip. Jacob, we talked about Monster Hunter Stories too. Like, I want to at least try it. There's a demo, but that's one I could see myself skipping because I don't care about Monster Hunter, right? But the art style is drawing me in so much. So
I'm looking forward to that game. Like, I liked Monster Hunter Rise enough where I'm like kind of interested in the series, but just hunting monsters over and over didn't really do it for me and upgrading the armor. So having this kind of JRPG style Monster Hunter game really is kind of more up my alley. So I'm looking forward to it, and it looks like, it's a great looking game.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game. All the games they showed were some of the games I couldn't believe were running on Switch, really. It's amazing how these companies are getting that kind of fidelity out of this system, especially if it's 5 years old. We're in our 5th year of the Switch.
Yep.
That's so crazy to think about,
And no pro news cough. But.
Yeah. Okay. Did anybody else, when they did the 2 snap, did anybody else be like, were you like, Switch 2, Switch Pro? Like, that's immediately where my mind went to. I was like, why else would they get, they could have at least synced it up to both of them snapping at the same time if it didn't mean anything.
But their tweet specifically said software.
I know, but
Like,
Microsoft does that crap
expecting it.
all the time too, and then they show off a new console every
Yeah.
presentation. So.
And in 2017, they said they were only going to talk about Zelda, and then they talked about, I think Sushi Striker got announced that year, which wasn't great, but still, it wasn't Zelda.
Hey, Sushi Striker was great on 3DS, and by great I mean it was more playable.
Do you guys think that maybe, I don't know if they do it last minute, decided not to even mention the Pro during the Nintendo Direct because, you know, everything kind of started leaking, even like especially from Bloomberg? Or
I think I just think Nintendo likes to reveal their hardware separately. I mean they always they're just like, oh, we dropped a new trailer, right? Like when the 2DS XL was announced, it was a trailer, right? Like it was like the redesign kind of clamshell design. That's, you know, whatever. It's they dropped a trailer, right? And when they said they were the Switch Lite and the Switch, both just dropped a trailer, right? Like when they revealed those consoles. So, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Pow Block last week, Jacob, but like, Nintendo's only revealed one major console, and that was the Wii at E3, right? And
that was the only time. Yeah, that was the Wii at E3. That was the only time they've ever revealed a console. They've talked about consoles very in detail before at E3, but they've only ever revealed a console at E3. So I do think that we're going to be getting it later. I also thought that I don't want to put the horse before the cart, but I do.
You do.
Cart before the horse. I also thought that when they showed Guardians of the Galaxy at first on Switch, I was like, well, that basically confirms Switch Pro, but then it turned out to be the cloud version.
Yeah, dude, I was like, man, I'm gonna play Guardians of the Galaxy on Switch, and they're like, cloud, and I'm like, no, because I played a little bit of Control through the cloud, like I played the demo, and like when it was working, it worked great, but every 5 to 7 minutes or so, there would be a hitch, or it would freeze, or it would lose connection. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. Not dealing with this. So, but overall, I thought this was a great console. A great Direct. I really am excited for a lot of the things here, especially Metroid Dread. Right. So, you guys want to talk about that game a little bit more before we move on to like all this Zelda stuff? I thought about doing the run of show. We're gonna hit the big games first, just because I think they're the games that we're all pretty much most excited about, right? Dan, you and I kind of talked about this separately, and then we're gonna hit on some of the other games and just kind of talk about the ones that we're excited for on the latter half of the show, but. Metroid Dread. I still can't believe they announced Metroid Dread.
I know.
And I just can't believe how good it looks.
Yeah.
Like when that trailer opened up, I'm not even a big Metroid fan, and I was like losing it.
Like 2D
the gameplay looked amazing.
Like the 2D Metroid's the only one I've ever played is the original Metroid out of the 2D games, right? And I love the Prime games, but like 2D Metroid's just kind of like I've played them, I've dabbled in them, but I've never finished any of them. And 2 years ago, I think when Ed and I did the retro game show that we were kind of trying some things out with, we played Super Metroid, and I played it for the first time, and we finished it. And I was like, man, these games are good. I wish I was smart enough to learn all the backtracking and stuff. Which, I mean, that's the point with a new Metroid game is, right, learning the map, backtracking, finding the stuff. So I'm going to read the synopsis here a little bit of the game. It says, face off against unrelenting EMMI robots, EMI robots. Once DNA extracting research machines, the imposing EMI are now hunting Samus down. Tensions are high as you evade these EMI to avoid the cruel death while finding a way to take them down. Feel Samus's power grow as you gain maneuvers and abilities, acquire new and familiar abilities as you traverse the many environments of the dangerous world. Explore the sprawling map, evade and destroy EMI robots, and overcome the dread plague on ZDR. So, ZDR is the planet that you're traveling around.
Yeah, some
Go ahead. Sorry.
something interesting. I don't know if we all listened to or watched the Treehouse, but they talked about how this is the first Metroid game that you start at the core of the planet, and instead you're fighting your way up, like to the surface. And I think that they mentioned this in the Treehouse as well, but I agree that really does lend itself to the idea of it being Dread, and with the much creepier vibe, especially in the newer games, I think, than any previous game before it. Like, I know in Fusion was very colorful, but it always had that aspect of the SA5. What was the acronym? The Samus suit that was chasing you. But this one basically has that multiplied, and it just seems like it's gonna really like I'm calling it for spooky game of the year, honestly. Like it seems like it's gonna be SAX. Thank you, Geek Bro, in the chat. I'm calling it for spooky game of the year. It was so good.
I was watching the presentation like in the background while I was working today. And you're right, it has like, it's not a survival horror game by any means, but it has those like horror vibes there, and I'm really excited about that because you have those like Emmy robots or whatever they're called, like chasing Samus through multiple areas, I think. And I feel like the 2D games haven't really done that before, so I think that's so cool. You're gonna have like random moments where you think everything's safe, but then this monster's gonna like other robot's gonna come up and just start chasing Samus. You're gonna have to like run fast to dodge it or attack it or whatever, and I think this game just looks like such an upgraded version of what Metroid Samus Returns was, because I feel like that game was kind of held back by the 3DS's power. It looked kind of rough around the edges of it.
Yes.
This looks so clean and streamlined, and like this is how that game was supposed to be. I feel like it was like the blueprint kind of. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I just have this feeling that a lot of Nintendo's IPs, whenever they come out with like a darker version, like a dark, sequel or something, they tend to do pretty well. I mean, I'm thinking about, Majora's Mask and stuff like that. But also as part of the Treehouse as a whole, they kind of started with it and they also ended with it. So it was definitely a big focus in the Treehouse for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And those amiibo, though, I don't know if y'all collect amiibo or not, but those things were clean. Oh my god! Yeah.
Do you think fans will be able to even get their hands on it though? Because
I do think so. I think amiibo are a lot easier to find than some people lead them to believe.
But what about that collector's edition? Will that be available?
That's a real hot ticket item, man. It's already being sold on eBay, and they haven't even released it for pre-orders yet, I think.
Oh,
are you serious?
Here we go.
Yeah. Come on, that's brutal.
Yeah. And oh man. So I know Grezzo did the Legend of Zelda remasters, right? And for all intents and purposes, Metroid Samus Returns was a Metroid 2 remaster. Is this the first time Nintendo has ever had a company take on a new, totally new game after doing remasters for them? Has Grezzo done anything brand new?
They did Link's Awakening, but that's
But that's still another, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other developers.
I know that we've gotten a lot of indie games that have Nintendo IPs, but I was just wondering if this is going to be a new thing where they take their maybe we could see the next F-Zero or Kid Icarus or Punch Out. Maybe that's a thing that they're going to start. Because if they're giving Metroid to a second party or third party company, but I think they're third party because they worked with Konami, so that seems very telling on how they're being more open with their IPs.
I'm looking at the list of Grezzo games right now, and it's Zelda Ocarina of Time, Zelda Four Swords Anniversary Edition, Zelda Majora's Mask, Zelda Triforce Heroes, Ever Oasis, Luigi's Mansion, Link's Awakening, Miitopia, and The Alliance Alive remastered. So it seems like it's all remasters.
Triforce Heroes is a new game, kind of. Even though
that's true. That's true.
How about back
Co-developed
in the
with
day?
Nintendo on that one though.
Okay.
What about Capcom and the Oracle games?
Yeah, that's true.
Like
That
Minish
that
Cap,
was
right?
yeah. Oh
Mhm.
my god, yeah. Minish Cap was that was like they worked that because the Oracle games could be argued that a lot of the assets came from Link's Awakening, but
Yeah.
like Minish Cap was from the ground up for sure on
Yep.
Capcom. So I guess, but yeah, that's crazy that they're getting kind of free roaming with that again.
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that means for the future of other IPs in the series or in Nintendo verse.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was just so surprised to see I was so surprised to see them title it Dread. When that came up on screen, I'm like, you guys actually did this? Like you guys are actually doing this. And I don't know if you know this, Jacob, but I think Dread was like found in Metroid Prime or something. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like you
Geek-
know more about this.
So Geek Bro in our chat actually mentioned it, but you are correct.
Oh, okay.
Metroid Prime 3 came out in 2007, I believe, right
Mhm.
after like all the rumors of Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
And there's a terminal scan that reads experiment status report update. Metroid Project Dread is nearing the
Ooh.
final stages of completion. And
That's so
after the rumors, everyone was like, "Oh, it's here," and then just dead. Nothing.
13 years later or 14
Yeah.
years.
We got Other M instead, guys.
Oh my god, yeah, so important to the Metroid series. I love that's the other thing too is I love that this is Metroid 5, which means Other M doesn't exist
Yeah.
in the Metroid canon. Like unless it's part of Prime, I guess, which I don't think it is. But
I
that's so
thought
funny.
I thought Other M was like a direct sequel to Super Metroid. I thought that was
That's
like
what they were
it
going
was
for.
supposed to be. Like Other M, isn't that Other Metroid? Isn't that what that stands for?
I would assume so.
Like
I don't know
yeah,
what else
I
the M
actually
could
don't.
stand. Saris, M, Aaron.
Other mission? I don't know.
Geek Bro, help us out. Help us out with that knowledge.
That Metroid knowledge. But
Yeah.
yeah, Metroid Dread. Oh my god, that looks so
It's
good.
so
And
good.
so soon, like October.
Yeah,
4 months away.
October.
4 months.
Like
yeah.
I just love how in recent years Nintendo has just been doing an incredible job at announcing games that are just ready to go. Like they did that with Link's Awakening, I feel like that same year, Luigi's Mansion and stuff
Paper
like that. And
Mario
also
they did 3
like
months.
Paper Mario, yeah, just like and I love that. You know, it doesn't give us time to like overhype something or like, you know, just it's awesome to have something announced and be able to play it in 3 to 4 months. It's awesome. It's just incredible.
I know.
I love that there's no middle ground for them though. It's either 3 to 4 months or several
2 years or
away.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody who texted me was like, I was disappointed they didn't say anything about Metroid Prime 4. I'm like, they did. They said it was still in development.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
It
I
hasn't
saw
been
a lot of
canceled.
people
That's
saying that. Like they're just like, oh, that new Metroid is okay, but like Metroid Prime
What?
4, come on. Like
That's a pretty good game to have while you wait for 4. Like
Yeah.
I'd say it's a
Yeah.
nice compromise.
plus there's like 800 other games you can play before that.
I think every single month now has, if you count Pokemon, every single month has a first party game coming out for the rest of the year.
And
That's
into next
insane.
year. Theoretically,
into
right?
next
Because
year.
Pokemon's
Yeah.
January. Mario Rabbids is probably February or March, I'm assuming. Like there's something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just
Same.
I'm making
Breath
a
of the Wild
calendar.
in
Yeah, they
March, maybe.
they definitely made up for, the pandemic year. So that's why I think if they have a solid, library coming up. And yeah, like you said, Greysun, definitely in the spring, probably at the end of the fiscal year, that'll be a big release day too.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else to say about Metroid Dread other than we're all excited, clearly?
The one thing I don't think we said is how cool the platforming looked with like the wall grabs and
Yeah.
sliding and everything. Everything just looked so smooth, so good.
Yeah.
I
What it
I'm
reminded me
hyped.
of a little bit actually is Dead Cells in the movement a little bit.
Huh.
Just
I can see
like
that.
how not directly Dead Cells related, but just how like quick and how fluid it kind of looked, like moving around and everything. It looked really, really cool. So
Awesome.
Yeah, the only last thing I want to add is, because I've written a lot of articles today, I will say that the Dread article has been doing the best today, and that's just kind of proof that I think that was one of Nintendo's like most successful trailers in their entire direct.
I Where did you write? Where did you write that article at, Stephanie?
Oh, I didn't write that one. I believe that was Dan. I'm just saying, like, giving credit, like, that's proof that that's a hot topic. But you can find all these articles at, bossrush.com. Is it bossrush.com? I always
Boss Rush
that
Games.
Bossrushgames.com. Don't listen to me. Don't fire me. Don't fire me.
You're fired.
Yeah, easily.
Oh man. But
I can still be a fan.
Good job, Dan. That article is sitting at 597 views today. So.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
It's up to 598.
Oh, stop clicking!
Quick, everybody, go to it now. One last thing: Metroid can crawl, and now Metroid can slide. So
yeah. So the other kind of big showing, I guess, today was Zelda. Right? They showed a lot of Zelda stuff off. Breath of the Wild. Well, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, as they keep calling it. Showed us some new gameplay. Showed us some new story beats. Some new elements. Very Skyward Sword-esque with Zelda falling, with Link jumping out of the sky. It's all coming together. I feel like they're putting a lot of interesting timeline elements in this game. Callbacks to other... I mean, we saw that in Breath of the Wild also, but I feel like they're doing it more deliberately this time. This game looks awesome. There's portals. He sucked himself through a rock.
Yep.
He's throwing these big chain ball things.
It looks like there might be dungeons. Kind of.
Oh my gosh, please, dungeons.
Yes.
Also, a Bokoblin camp on top of a talus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
so cool.
awesome.
It was
That was
so cool.
so good. Oh my god. And it looks like, so I'm guessing his new arm is the new Sheikah Slate, apparently, because that's how he did the stasis technique, is he just
Wait,
punched his arm out there.
This arm thing, I couldn't quite grasp what they were doing with it. Did somebody like cut his arm off? Is this like a rivet thing from Ratchet and Clank type thing, or is this like just like a cuff that he wears?
So in the very beginning of the trailer, you see the Malice, kind of, absorb his arm, which in my head, I'm like, how does that work if he now uses that arm to do things? I thought it would just kind of chew his arm off. But yeah, that's how it starts. And then you see that greenish glow that we saw from the initial footage in 2019. And then, it becomes like a little mech cannon thing.
Yeah.
Which David, our own David from Boss Rush, points out in the chat that apparently Nintendo knows the title. IGN just kind of reported on this, and that they don't want to tell us the title because it gives away too much of the game. And my honest opinion on that is, if it gives away too much of the game, just change the title.
Yeah.
Like,
because what are they going to do? Keep it until the game is
I know.
out?
Yeah.
Like, what are
They'll
you going
just
to
call
know?
it
What are
Project
they gonna-
Strategy Triangle.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna be like, it's just gonna say the sequel to Breath of the Wild on the box when it comes out, and then once you beat the game, you get a special code through My Nintendo Rewards or something, and to print out a special cover.
Yeah, it all makes sense now. That seems so weird to me. Like, the top comment on that though was Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2. Zelda dies at the end.
I've seen so much like speculation on Twitter. Like, there's so many people that think, there's like some time travel stuff going on, because there's points in a trailer where it shows Link with the longer hair and like that warrior outfit, when his arm is messed up, and people think that's Zelda apparently, because also in the trailer it shows regular Link like in his blue tunic from Breath of the Wild 1. So there's like stuff like that where I'm looking at, I'm like, wow, this could really be like maybe this playable Zelda, or they're trying to hide that, or you go back in time. I have no clue. But
I still-
this is where
loving the
so excited.
overanalyzing it.
No,
I'm
this
loving
is
it.
they're
Like,
gonna. There's gonna be time travel. That's the reference to Ocarina of Time in this game, is the time travel. The sky stuff is obviously Skyward Sword. There's gonna be references to these games, and I still feel like Zelda's gonna be playable. Maybe she dies at the beginning, and you travel back in time and like try to fix. Maybe like the story elements of this game is you're trying to fix the timeline, right?
Well,
Yeah.
they messed a lot with the timeline in one of the best Zelda games of all time, Age of Calamity.
I know.
So
I just started playing it yesterday
Ugh.
again because of the DLC announcement stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of like time manipulation, I almost kind of wondered that image of Link dropping through the sky, that Skyward Sword reference.
Yeah.
It's almost like I wonder if that was was it 10,000, 100,000 years ago? I'm really at the end of my brain is fried, but like the initial events
hmm
of Breath of the Wild, I wonder.
Yeah.
But-
I'm watching the trailer right now, and it's just like, man, this.
And it actually shows when it shows him attacking the enemies with that spiked ball.
Yeah.
That's a new power. It looks like a rewind ability where he's like the ball's coming towards him, but he's pushing it back in time to hit back the enemies.
Yeah.
So
that is
gonna,
very
like,
cool.
That's gonna add so many elements to like shrines or dungeons, whatever we're gonna be going through. I'm sure.
So excited.
It's
for this
so
game.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like it feels like such a short trailer, but when you like just like go
analyze
through
it.
it slowly,
Mhm.
yeah, you can just see so many little details and things.
It
Really pick it apart.
as you watch this trailer, like it's definitely, it looks like it's playing with time elements a little bit, like in terms of the landscape and stuff too, because like Stephanie said, you can see him with his longer hair falling from the sky, but then the very next scene is him with like a almost like a tribal garment on, flying, like using the glider, and he like that looks different than anything we saw in the first game. And granted, it could just be like a costume swap or whatever, but and then like
Yeah.
the third scene is him running through this field, and you see like the sky area, right? But his hair's still a little bit longer, and he's got a different outfit on in this again. Like, there's got to be time elements in this game. There has to be, like mixed with what Greysun said about the time ability. Like,
Mhm.
it's got to be here.
It's gonna be something like that.
When they were showing off Breath of the Wild the first time, did they show any of the changes of clothing at all, or was Link always in the champion's tunic?
I think he was in the Champions tunic originally.
I think so, yeah. I think originally he was in that wearing that hoodie, when we couldn't see his face, and then he eventually just pulled it off, threw it off, and it's just like the normal Breath of the Wild outfit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just before we move on, I'm watching the trailer, and where that thing is like clamped on the arm, right where the green is swirling, that hand has longer fingernails. I don't think Link has long fingernails. These are clearly women's fingernails.
Man, if we get to play Zelda. But wait,
Ooh.
did they ever show Link? Now I have to watch the trailer.
Now I have to watch the
man.
trailer.
Yeah, like
Well,
It's just gonna be a trailer
idea,
breakdown.
so the idea was to actually have the trailers playing while we're talking about the games, but Nintendo poo-pooed that, and they're like, "Don't play our stuff online while you
yeah.
stream, because we're gonna
Yeah.
be no, we're Nintendo." But yeah, this is clearly a woman's arm and hand and stuff. It's just
It's crazy. And I feel like they showed Zelda falling in the beginning
mhm.
to maybe trick people into thinking that she's not going to be here. Yeah, red herring. Exactly.
I mean, she could very well die at the beginning, and that, like we said, like this whole time thing, man. I really hope nobody listens to this episode Ed and I did like a year ago with Celeste about the Breath of the Wild being a trilogy of games, and like this being the Empire Strikes Back of Zelda, where and then like you have to fix time and fix the timeline, and then the third game is where it all wraps up real nice with a bow. But
So I'm at the beginning of the trailer right now, and 7 seconds in, the 7-second mark, it shows a quick flash of Link with the hand thing. So I don't think that's Zelda.
no,
But what
I'm
if the
not. No,
hand
this
thing is
one,
what
this one
connects
is
them?
this one is
It connects them.
Yeah.
this one is
Fusion
42 seconds in. Dan is the one that I'm talking about.
How many frames though, guys? How many frames in is it?
Hopefully,
very specific.
hopefully
A
more than
second is a
17
long time.
when stuff's going on.
That's at least 60 frames in 1 second. So
I'm so excited for this game.
I know.
dude.
And like
So-
when you see the castle rise out of the ground, right, and the lava's falling and the rocks are falling, and then it just lingers on that sky for a while. I want to know if you can go down into that pit, right? Like I want to know if there's an underground as well as the sky stuff. Like this game is going to be, I feel like this game's going to be really massive.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I'm seeing those fingernails. I think I might be buying this.
Oh man, we got him.
I've said from the very beginning that Zelda's going to be playable in this game, and you're going to be able to use her. Maybe it's like Ghost past Zelda, like helping Link through puzzles or whatever, and like just because of the time thing, and maybe she's like a Force Ghost or whatever, and she just kind of helps you or whatever. But Zelda's going to be playable, and you're going to be swapped between them to solve puzzles and shrines and dungeons and stuff.
Do you think this game will be like somewhat linear like previous games, or do you think it's going to be kind of open world and the same?
It's probably going to be the same style as the first game, where you can kind of
Yeah.
like, I bet it tells a more cohesive story than the first game, but I bet you can tackle these events in any way you want, right? Like the dungeons and stuff.
Yeah, I don't see them reverting back to like the way Twilight Princess Ocarina of Time was, right?
I don't see that ever happening again.
Yeah, I think they got to stick with this open world because it's what has worked best so far.
Yeah.
You know, what I really do hope, I know Greysun mentioned it, is that they do introduce some form of dungeons back in there, and at least have a couple good boss battles. I mean, even the new Mario Golf is going to have boss battles, so we got to have boss battles here.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about Mario Golf for,
Oh, yes, I could talk about speed golf all day.
I know. We'll get to that, but any other theories about this game? I just want to play it. Why is it coming out next year? Why can't it just...
It has to be perfect. They can't release the sequel to Breath of the Wild and it be mediocre.
Yeah.
This could also end up being like a showcase for the next Switch.
It's true.
That's what people were talking about too.
Yeah.
Which could happen.
Yeah.
Which, if they don't capitalize on that and get a Zelda-themed Switch Pro or whatever it is, like, that's no good. That's bad. That's bad juju, man.
I want a Switch that looks like the Wii U Wind Waker's
with the like cursive.
Yeah.
They could do like a Sheikah Slate Switch or something. That'd be cool.
That would be
that'd
really
be
cool.
really cool.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be easy too.
Yeah.
True.
So Zelda, it's coming 2022. It's going to be good. I'm calling it now. I bet it gets at least 110 from an outlet.
I've got one other thing from a viewer. Rebellity says that the title is going to be Legend of Zelda: The Song of the Hero, to reference Cass singing, because like whenever you talk to Cass in the original Breath of the Wild, he constantly at the horse places, like that's what he only plays for you there. So that'd be really cool.
That would be
that could reference, because people would be like, oh, it's song, like Ocarina of Time, where you play songs to go back in time, and that's why it's time based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also showed off a bunch of other Zelda things, like Age of Calamity DLC, Zelda on a motorcycle.
I really hope that that's not just transportation and that we get to fight as Zelda on a motorcycle.
Yeah. Let's do it. Dude, that scene was so cool when like you see it roll up and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. That's in the game. But then you see Zelda riding it and you're just like, all right, I'm in. This game is ridiculous. This game is utter ridiculousness.
And the new weapons, the Guardian arms, with like the whip and chain thing, that was, man.
Yeah.
Give me Castlevania Zelda any day.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Like, I wonder if any of these weapons are going to show up in Breath of the Wild 2. You think they're teasing some weapons that'll show up there?
I kind of got that idea.
Fiction.
It's not a fan fiction. It's made by Nintendo.
Don't kill our hopes and dreams, Dan.
Since they included it as a Zelda segment and not just as a, like, why? Why would they show that first?
Yeah.
Right before Zelda, if not to say, like, hey, look, this might be new things. And, like, I think that was one of the biggest wants from everybody who played Hyrule Warriors was, like, elemental moblins, elemental guardians. Mm-hmm. That would be a great addition.
By the way, are you playing as a guardian in this DLC? Can you do that?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
One?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You're clearly playing as a guardian, just mowing these things down.
I think that might be wave 1. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what the descriptions kind of allude to.
Yeah. It's cool.
And yet no Pyra or the other guy.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. That's
Robbie?
coming in November.
Bobby.
The Age of what? Sorry. What did
No,
you
you keep going.
Oh, I was going to say the Age of Calamity DLC, the first pack comes out on June 18th, and the second pack is scheduled for November. So, cool. It's soon.
Yep.
Soon. Oh, it's Friday. Wow. My days have all run together this week. This weekend has just felt like one long day.
Yeah.
Man, I'm keeping Red Bull in business, guys. I'm telling you what. Me and David both probably. No, David's probably sipping on some fancy tea or something.
He's a Washington State coffee drinker.
Yeah.
They got fancy stuff up there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, expensive beans.
right? Like Seattle's the coffee capital of America.
I wish I had it now to show you, but earlier I made myself a Zelda themed drink to honor the day. I made the Noble Pursuit, and it was pretty awesome.
What is that?
Ooh.
I need
It's
to
a
know.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, it's the drink that you have to get someone in the Guerdo area.
Oh, the milk.
Is it a
right.
milk? I just know it's like a drink at the bar, and some lady's like on top of one of the shrine entrances, and she won't move unless you get her that drink, the Noble Pursuit, and you have to like carry this ice cube across the desert for someone to make it. So you just blend like coconut cream or whatever, ice, pineapple, and then put some maraschino cherries in there. Oh, so good.
Ooh.
Mm,
That sounds really good.
sounds fancy.
It looked really good.
Yeah. And then they also talked about the 35th. The one thing they're doing for Zelda's 35th
Yeah.
anniversary, guys.
The
No-
Game and Watch.
No more games coming to Switch, they said, for the 35th anniversary. But
Yeah, but
you can play the old games on a new portable system called the Game & Watch.
It has Link's Awakening.
the best game
that's the
of all
best part.
time.
I have Link's Awakening on my Switch, the better version.
No, it's not. It lags and it has a weird fuzz around the edge.
No, it doesn't. That's an artistic direction, Jacob.
That's a stupid artistic direction, Corey.
I actually found my original Link's Awakening
Oh.
DX.
So-
my God, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
It's one of two Game Boy games I have complete in box.
Nice.
So it's
Link's
Yeah.
Awakening is the best game of all time.
Yeah.
Not even Zelda.
I'm buying that to actually play Link's Awakening on it. So I have the Mario Game & Watch, and the games play extremely well on it, and like the buttons are pretty good. It's pretty awesome. So like I'm really looking forward to playing Link's Awakening.
I like
The
the fact
pre-order's
that
out for that?
or what?
Pre-orders out for the.
Yeah.
You don't need to pre-order
Alright.
it, man. Yeah,
No?
you can still find the Mario Game and Watches everywhere.
Are they
Yeah.
50? They're $50, right? The game Mario
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
like
bad.
it's. I don't think it's going to be a thing that goes out at all.
The one thing that annoys me about playing NES games on Switch is that the buttons are not next to each other; they're diagonal, and they're diagonal the wrong way. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to buy more controllers.
Yeah, I really appreciated this announcement to celebrate the 35th. Obviously a part of me as the entitled Nintendo Zelda fan wishes there could have been more. But I just know deep down, again, I'll keep busy with all these games that have come out. Like, I think, Corey, you mentioned the Wind Waker 20th anniversary will be coming up. And in a couple of years, there's going to be the 25th or something anniversary for Ocarina of Time. Like, Ocarina of Time is going to come upon a big number anniversary as well.
That game's
So,
getting
like-
a full remake for its 25th anniversary.
So that's fine. As long as they say it'll never come ever, you'll die without it. There's still chances that these older games will come to the Switch, just not now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, don't believe Nintendo when they say they're not doing something. Like
Right.
that's rule number one.
Yeah, remember they said Skyward Sword HD like a long time ago. Inuma
It's not
said
possible.
nope. Yeah,
It
it's
was
not
impossible.
possible to convert the motion controls, and look what they're doing.
I just want to point out that when he said that in an interview. I said that on Nintendo Pow Block, like episode 40 or something, that I was like, you could just put the motion controls on the control stick and it would be fine.
Yeah. Oh, and thanks, Geek Bro. Yeah, Ocarina of Time 25th anniversary is in 2023, and that that's gonna be big.
Do you think it's going to get a full remake, or you think it's going to get the Mario 35th anniversary collection? Just, here's the port, and we're going to keep the N64 buttons on there, and it's here you go.
This game doesn't have any significance other than it being some people's favorite.
No, it's
why is
it's the first 3D Zelda game.
Celebrate.
I think when you have Breath of the Wild, it's like hard to make sense to remake from the ground up. Like maybe like a Link's Awakening, like a little remaster, clean it up a little bit, but I don't think they're gonna remake Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or like any old.
I think they might reuse Grezzo's.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you just package Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and made them HD from the 3DS, I think everybody would be satisfied with that.
Yeah, I would buy that for sure. But I don't think they're gonna get a full remake or even celebrate like the anniversary of that game. I don't know.
They didn't even mention the anniversary of Zelda on Zelda's anniversary. They mentioned the Game Boy Advance, but not Zelda. Man, if I ran this company, I would do so much more.
He'd be making deals with Capcom to make Monster Hunter exclusive a yearly event.
That's right.
Well, they just want everybody to focus on Skyward Sword, and I get that.
They do.
They took a chance with this game because it's kind of widely considered the least favorite 3D Zelda game or any Zelda game aside from Zelda 2.
Yeah.
But I think they took a chance with it, and they're not trying to poach their own sales by doing any collection releases or anything like that. So maybe after July, we'll see something more with Zelda, but not right now.
Yeah. I think they're hoping to have Skyward Sword HD be kind of like their new first impression, because the first impression was not too great. And I know I'm drawing assumptions, but you know how Nintendo does everything so intentionally with the teaser trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, even though it has references of many Zelda games, it's still very Skyward Sword-esque. So I think it's just all Skyward Sword theme here.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, shame on all of you. Skyward Sword was an amazing game on the Wii. Just because y'all didn't know how to swing your Wii remote properly does not mean that it.
I liked it. I
loved it.
I didn't mind the motion controls. I thought it was the least of its problems.
I thought the story was really good.
It's the best linear story in the
Zelda. The
backtracking felt so lazy, and the empty planets and the flying around aimlessly. Come on,
there's space travel in there. Great. Oh, I'm re-interested in Skyward Sword space travel.
Geek Bro wants to know if y'all think the Skyward Sword amiibo will do anything for Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Yes. Did you play Twilight Princess HD? Did you see what the Wolf Link amiibo did? Yes.
It brought the wolf to Breath of the Wild.
It was awesome.
And now there are Sky Islands in Breath of the Wild too. So hey,
it's gonna be instead of capturing these things like horses, you're gonna be able to scan that thing in, and it's gonna give you Zelda Skyloft, and you're gonna be able to just travel with it instead of having to capture these things.
Or you'll need the Skyward Sword amiibo to fast travel in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, don't give me that. No. Okay, I don't want this amiibo anymore.
Remember this thing?
As long as you don't have to keep them in I guess I was gonna say stables, but that's not the correct terms for flight. I guess hangars.
Cages.
Cages? Maybe there's an area that looks like the pterodactyl thing from Jurassic Park 3.
I would rather fly on Kapora Gabora than I would on a Loftwing in Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh, I would love if he had made an appearance.
You think Tingle's going to be in this game?
Oh, Lord, please. I hope so.
What do you think? There's going to be like a Tingle's Ruby Hunter minigame, what was that one on the Game Boy Advance? I forget.
Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land.
Rupee Land.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I just want him to say "tingle, tingle, Limpa" or whatever.
Oh my God!
Do you think they're gonna bring back? Do you think they're gonna bring back items like that aren't just weapons, different weapons that you attack with? Like rather than use the Sheikah Slate, do they bring back the grappling
shot.
hook? Do they bring back the hook
I
shot?
think
Do they bring
I think the
back
hook
any
shot.
sort of
I think the hook shot comes back. I bet it's actually like an ability that you can use. To be honest with you.
I guess it depends if there's dungeons or not too. Because
Yeah.
if they do sort of traditional dungeons again, they can have those items, as rewards at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
But we
You
don't
know what item I wish would come into this game, but I know it won't, would be the spinner, because the spinner was not utilized so much
that's
in
so much
Twilight
fun.
Princess, and you can catch so much air with that. It'd be perfect.
Oh man, yeah.
People would break the game with that. Like,
They'll
Yeah.
spin across the
I love
entire world.
watching those people on Twitter that are still breaking Breath of the Wild. Like,
Yeah, like the person that got the impossible chest or whatever. Finally.
yeah, wasn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was so crazy.
I don't know about this. What is this?
Oh, there's like they put a chest somewhere that was literally thought to be impossible for 4 years, and someone just finally got it for the first time like a month ago.
Yeah.
What chest? I have to look this up.
It's
Yeah.
in one of the shrines.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
yeah,
And like they had to do something with a bomb and an arrow and
yeah.
pausing and not pausing, and then it just blows them up and launches them across the entire map.
Yeah.
So cool.
It was So, well, anybody got anything else to say about Zelda? Because I could just make this a Zelda show. I would be okay with that.
I was gonna say, like, if you don't change the topic, I will also just keep talking about Zelda nonstop. So
I do have one question.
What?
Weapons breaking again?
Yes,
or
but
no?
I think there's going to be crafting
Yes.
to make
Yeah.
them more durable and maybe even unbreakable. I bet the dungeons will give you unbreakable versions of weapons that you use. I bet that's the draw for dungeons now. Like you don't have to do them, right? You
That's
don't have to like get the boomerang in this dungeon to beat the dungeon or whatever, but like if you do the dungeons, they will give you either crafting materials to make your weapons unbreakable, or they will provide you with an unbreakable weapon. Maybe like the boss in the dungeon uses like a two-handed claymore or whatever, right? And you beat him and it gives you his unbreakable weapon, right? Maybe that's the draw.
I don't want unbreakable weapons. I actually really liked the breakable weapons in Breath of the Wild.
They're the worst.
I
That's
agree
like
with you.
that's
Dan.
like my one complaint about the game is the breakable weapons. Not that the weapons break, but that you couldn't craft them to make them more durable, right? So
No.
No, because that,
I-
that means that you're gonna end up using the same weapon over and over.
good.
And over
That's
again.
what I want to do.
Exactly.
No,
like
that's not.
there's so much to like just to farm and learn how to use different weapons against different enemies. It like made the strategy of the game so much better, and how you have to like ration them too.
Also, on subsequent playthroughs, you can be like, okay, well, I know there's a Royal Guard sword here, so I'm gonna swing over this way and then head to this place. Like, it's so good. I like the breakable weapons. More importantly, can you pet the dog? That's what I want to know.
Hey, I
There be
made that
dogs.
tweet today, and nobody liked it. Jerks.
I hope there are more animal interactions, which, by the way, people in the chat, yes, this is my cat. Well, you can't see her anymore. Cat Paxel. She is awesome and decided to say hello.
You have another cat named Pixel?
Paxel. Pixel would
No,
be a
but
good name, no?
Do you have another
Oh.
one? That's what I was asking. Do you have two cats?
her-
'Cause that would be.
Two cats. One's named Lusa. So
Oh.
Lusa I adopted from Russia. I named this one Paxil because, side tangent, I'm a pharmacist and Paxil's an antidepressant. So, haha, I'm so funny.
Those good old
That's
pharmacist jokes.
Oh!
They get you every time.
I bet one person listening to this got that joke.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
It
one
wasn't
person
me.
said it the first
Spoilers.
time, and they were like, "Oh, that's so clever."
Definitely not me.
All right. Well, I guess we should move on from Zelda before we just, start drooling over this trailer again. They did announce the next Smash Brothers fighter, a crossover with Tekken. Kazuya Mishima is the fifth fighter. I hope I said that right. I'm not a Tekken guy, so I don't really know. But that trailer, this opened the direct with him throwing Ganon off the cliff, right? And that was a pretty big start to the direct. I feel like, because I feel like everybody thought it might be connected to Breath of the Wild too, but still, it was cool.
My heart was racing when they just showed Ganon being carried to the edge of a cliff. I was losing it. I was like, are they really gonna kick it off of Breath of the Wild too?
Yeah, I mean, he looks cool. Like they showed him fighting all the other fighting characters, I guess, like Ryu and Terry Bogard, right? And it was a cool addition. I think it's a smart addition, right? Because Sakurai loves fighting games, and this is a smart one. It's not like a huge get for me, right? Like I would have wanted someone. There's probably like 50 characters I would have come up with before someone from Tekken, but
it seemed pretty fitting to me. I'm interested to see him in the Sakurai Presents. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fighter game kind of guy, so like Terry Bogard and Ryu and Ken, none of those really spoke to me. I love Fighter Pass 2 though. All the characters have been so unique and so fun. So even though I'm not a big Tekken guy, I'm still looking forward to playing as this character.
Yeah, I'll try them out for sure. I usually try out all the characters when they come out, but
yeah, this was like I did not expect it. When he appeared, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm not super excited like Dan was saying. I'm not like I play a lot of Smash too. These past fighters have been awesome. I've grown to love like Sephiroth and Minecraft Steve, even though I wasn't really interested in Minecraft at least. Yeah. But we'll see how he plays and see if he's a fun addition. But in terms of like, I actually thought they were going to announce the last two fighters during this presentation, but I guess they're keeping that last one for something else.
Yeah. Greysun mentioned the announcing two fighters, and I saw a couple people online talking about how that would be a good idea for them, because that way they could like inevitably it would be that like one fighter's for like one half of the world and the other fighter's more relevant to the other half of the world, and that way they could appease both sides. I gotta admit, like Tekken seems like like a very obvious choice. Like, yeah, of course, fighting game, Tekken. Tekken's loved by a lot of people. I never saw it coming, and I still don't really fully understand why. Especially because like Tekken, the main Tekken games have never been on a Nintendo console. Right. Only the spin-off ones, which is like just another weird thing. Because up until this point, every single character has been on a Nintendo console in some way, shape, or form. Like even Joker was on the
Strikers game.
Strikers, and then also there was like a dungeon crawler, Persona Q Gold.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So like this is just it's a very weird announcement. I will say I went kind of a different route than all of y'all. With thinking it had news to do with Breath of the Wild, because like I immediately noticed it was Ocarina of Time Ganon.
Yeah.
And I thought they were starting with the announcement of like an Ocarina of Time remake, and I was just like, why would they be throwing Ganon into Death Mountain? And I was trying to figure that out, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's Smash.
Yeah.
Of course.
I also like at the end of the announcement where they kept throwing all the characters off, and he goes to throw Kirby off. And he's like looking over the edge to make sure he fell down, and you just see Kirby float back up behind it. That's so good.
I wish he pushed him in.
Why? Because you don't like Kirby?
No. I wish Kirby floated back around.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Oh,
yeah, that would have been funny.
As like a joke, because it was very clearly like you said, like it was just funny. You know, it was like I've seen some people's reactions while it was happening be like, but wait, can't Kirby float? And then Kirby floats back up. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta say, like the Smash reveal trailers have been so good. Like, the one with Sephiroth bodying Mario,
awesome.
Murdering,
or like when
cool.
or like when they revealed King K. Rool and Donkey Kong and Diddy freaked out, but then they used the same exact reveal for Banjo.
Yes,
but King K. Rool was so in there with them. So good.
Was Mario? No, never mind. I just answered my own question. Sorry.
But there was like a stretch of like 5 or 6 of them where Mario was just getting bodied by like the newcomer. Like Minecraft Steve just launched
Ridley.
him.
too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask is, did Mario get killed in this one? But then you had mentioned Banjo-Kazooie is like, oh yeah, Mario didn't get killed in Banjo-Kazooie either, so I guess that ruins that theory.
So do you guys think that this really is going to be the last Fighters Pass, or do you think they'll do like another one?
I think it will be the last. I think what they might do from here on out is do like $5 Echo Fighters.
Yeah.
Where it's or like $3 Echo Fighters, something like that, to just add to the roster. But it won't. I don't think they're going to be doing another thing of Fighters passes. And I also really hope that the last fighter is Sakurai.
I was saying that earlier, like just Sakurai kicking other people's asses. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
That'd be cool.
That'd be so funny. All right, Dan, you know what's next. You know what's next. Advanced Wars is back.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yes.
It looks so good.
It looks awesome.
Oh, but it's the first two games. What they call it, the reboot.
Camp.
Yeah, reboot.
Yeah,
camp
weird name, but
yeah, it's. Gosh, it looks so good.
I've never played Advance Wars. I'm very excited.
Me neither.
Man.
Yeah.
If it's so, these were developed by the Fire Emblem team before like Fire Emblem became popular over here, and it's just I love the look of like just the cutscenes, and the units are so clean, and it's just so. I love the overly dramatic voiceover of the trailer too.
Love it.
Everything about this was just it's perfect. It's perfect. It's what I want. It's all I want.
I've memories of playing the original Advanced Wars on the GBA with the link cable with my cousins, and I'm so excited to get back into this one.
Yeah, I remember my cousin brought his GBA over, and we played it with the link cables. I'm like, what is this game? Because it was like one of those games that you only needed one cart, but you could only use like specific units or whatever. I was like, "What is this game?" He's like, "It's like a war game. We should play it." I'm like, "Fine, okay, whatever." And I went out and got it like the next week. It was so good. And then they made the Battalion Wars game for GameCube, which was kind of the same thing.
There was a DS one too, right? Or do people kind of like forget about that one?
Dual Strike, I think, is the DS one.
Dual Strike was the DS one, and then I think there was one more after that.
There was Battalion Wars 2 for Wii, and the 2 was the eyes from the Wii logo.
Yeah, which was such a good game. I really liked how Battalion Wars allowed you to like kind of take on a solo unit if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. It was almost like Valkyria Chronicles in a way.
Yes. Yeah. I will say, if you like strategy RPGs of any sort, you need to buy this game. Even if it doesn't look like it's for you, it's very, very cute and charming, and it's an absolutely amazing strategy RPG.
Yeah, there's a game out right now that kind of evokes Advanced Wars right now called Wargroove. Yeah. So,
but it's not the same.
It's not, but
Wargroove is really good.
It is. But it's
not the same though. Yeah, I wanted it to, and I'm just like, as I was playing, I'm like, it's close, but it's missing something. You know, it's just like this little thing that's missing. Oh,
so is Intelligent Systems doing this new Advance Wars, or is it a different developer?
I think it's a different developer. It's a remake, so I don't know if Intelligent Systems would be on a remake, right? But also,
because I feel like Intelligent Systems gave up on Advance Wars, and that's why the series was considered dead.
Well, Intelligent Systems did Paper Mario, right?
Yeah.
And everybody thought they were doing Fire Emblem, but Tecmo Koei actually did the majority of the development of Fire Emblem. So,
right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Advance Wars.
I can't find the developer.
I don't think it's Intelligent Systems. I believe I read something somewhere where they were saying it's not Intelligent Systems, but I don't remember who they said it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I will say, I hope they provide a demo for this.
I bet they will.
According to Wikipedia, it's way forward.
That would make sense.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, they're great.
Fine with that.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I like how did you guys see Advance Wars on the Treehouse at all?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
So it like when it was zoomed out, it kind of had this like little board game look to it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think that's what I like about this remake is that it's just clean and cute and really, like you said, has that board game aesthetic to it. It's great.
Yeah, from watching the direct, it seemed, because that game from the trailer, it seemed very like not basic, but very like streamlined almost, just because the cute aesthetic and the board game kind of look of it. But watching the presentation, it was actually the game's actually pretty like deep, like very like Fire Emblem, where you have to focus on where your units are located, or where they're placed, and like the team and it's just a lot of stuff going on. So when I was watching that, I'm like, well, this game looks really cool and like actually more strategic than I originally like envisioned it to be.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So that's coming out December 3rd for Nintendo Switch. Can't wait. Speaking of cool remakes, guys, sort of, kind of, Mario Party Superstars.
Woo!
It's
What do you mean, sort of, kind of?
It's bringing back. They're remaking all they're half the N64 games.
You mean
it's like a weird remaster remake thing?
Yeah,
but it's also new.
Yeah.
Why? So my first question was, why was this not just DLC for Super Mario Party? First of all, since they seem to be
can't charge you $60 for it.
We thought it was going to be when we were watching it today.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. I am all about some N64 Mario Party again, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this is more, a wiser choice than coming out with another Mario Kart at this point, because I know some were wondering, oh, will there be a Mario Kart 9? I'm like, they're doing too well with 8 Deluxe still.
Yeah.
But how many people would double dip on 9? Like,
I mean, I double dipped on 8. I bought it for Wii U. So.
Like, I'm not even a big Mario Kart fan, and I would buy 9 right away.
I bought 8 I bought Mario Kart 8 on my Switch like a month ago because I just didn't have it on Switch. Now I was at my mom's house and I was playing with my brother and stuff. I'm like, how'd I have not bought this before? But yeah.
Oh man, I probably it's the only game my wife will play with me. So I put a ton of time into Mario Kart. And trust me, I think 8 is the best Mario Kart they've ever made by a long shot. But I've played those maps for so long. I just want if they just gave us new maps for 8, I would be fine. It's just they could do that. Like instead of 9, like I feel like Mario Kart, side tangent. Mario Kart is a perfect game to be a game as a service, right? You just I mean, they're doing that with the mobile game, I guess, which is fine, but I don't want to play Mario Kart on my phone. I want to play it on my Switch. So let me have all those cool costumes and characters and tracks and events on my Switch.
Shout out to the team on Boss Rush that raced in Mario Kart with me the other day. We got slaughtered.
Yeah, what do you mean? Oh,
why are you embarrassing us like that?
Because it wasn't. We should be embarrassed, man. We got destroyed. Like it wasn't even. We tried to cheat the system, and we still lost.
We got Jacob to vote for Baby Park, and trust me, like
that's the problem.
Anytime I've ever played Mario Kart with Jacob, he would rather smash his hand with a hammer than play Baby Park, and he voted for Baby Park. They got into his head that bad.
Wow.
Wow.
We're so good at the game. Holy cow! Shout out to them. I don't. What was their group?
The Mig Pen or Mig Pen.
Yeah, man, and all of their Miis looked like pigs. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's awesome.
But so like, do any of y'all? So I personally believe that they didn't add online to Super Mario Party as like a test the waters thing. I think that they had this planned and they were like, well, listen, if we release this with online and we don't have online in Super Mario Party, people are gonna buy it. I think that they were just like, just CYA on that one.
Yeah.
That's a good observation.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can save your game, like we could potentially have an on-running game of Mario Party. Like
that's awesome,
God, man.
Like we should do that, like an epic New Year's Eve countdown game, and just kind of stop there and continue the next day or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hungover Mario Party the next morning.
Well, it's nice that the Switch Lite players can play Mario Party now too.
Oh yeah.
Full button controls. They made that quite clear.
Yeah,
Except it's on they're taking from the N64 game. So how many of y'all are gonna, or not y'all? How many of everyone is going to now have to buy a glove?
Hey, I still have my N64 glove. Okay, so you just
Oh man,
let me
wow,
keep it.
okay, I'm
Except
sorry, I didn't
my
know.
hands are probably a lot bigger now than they were back then. But that's
Oh, man.
they're bringing back 5 classic maps, over 100 mini games, online play. It's coming out October 29th. Man, Nintendo's year is just getting stacked. It's just stacked already. Speaking of party games, Wario Ware, Get It Together is coming out in September.
So excited.
That
2-player.
2-player this time.
Co-op, yeah.
Is that a first for WarioWare?
So they've had so WarioWare games usually have like a section where you can play other mini games with other people on the same handheld console. But they never had it, I think, where you can actually play the actual micro games co-op. But I don't know if it's every micro game or it's like a certain selection. But it's very exciting. It's also the first time that you're able to like control characters on the screen. Like you're controlling Wario and Mona and all the other characters, and you're completing the mini games with them instead of just interacting with the mini game itself with buttons. So I think it's really cool. It's more engaging, I feel like. So
And really genius on a way to get more out of each game. That each character has a different method to, or maybe even just slightly different to complete the mini game. Like that. WarioWare was always a panic attack every time a new mini game popped up, and now when you're like, well, how do I know how to do this with this character, but what about this character? And like, oh man, that's very exciting. That's gonna be great.
Cool.
I can feel Jacob's stress from through the camera right now.
I'm sweating, man. Anxiety inducing.
Wario laughing in the background, the timer going off.
What? Speaking of Wario laughing, was this not Charles Martinet?
It was.
It was.
It was?
He made a tweet about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It did not sound like Charles
No,
Martinet.
it's not. Well, he's getting older, man. It's been a while since WarioWare came out.
That's true. He might, How did I do this voice again?
I mean, Wario only shows up in sports and party games now. Like, I'm sure they just recycled some stuff, right? I mean,
I can't imagine he's done any new voice clips for Wario in the last 15 years.
Yeah. Or any character for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How many takes do you need to hit? Wahoo! Like how many? Like, you know what I mean? Like
it's like we need you to come into the booth tomorrow to record some stuff from Mario Odyssey 2, and it's like Wahoo and I'm Mario or whatever the hell, like 5 million times over.
This time you're gonna say hoo-wah, not wahoo. And then, are we thinking based off of that that survey that was going out that it's going to be $50?
I think that's a confirmed price actually in the Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, if I check.
Wow, cheaper than 1-2 Switch.
Yes, that's not
good
bad.
move.
Yeah,
Good
they
move.
could have charged $60 for this, and I feel like that would have been fine too. But I'm glad it's a little bit of a discounted price.
Yeah.
So Wario games are usually, there's not like a ton of content there. You're kind of just replaying those mini games, doing different challenges, different game modes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, though, does that confirm that now, whenever we get that survey, we say no, we will not. We do not feel comfortable paying that amount.
No, $60 or no.
And they're just not going to give it to us at all.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Never mind. I thought maybe we had them. And we figured out how to game the system, but
yeah.
WarioWare
is awesome. People should play it. Never played it before.
Yeah,
so good.
I think the last WarioWare game I played was the one on Game Boy, or no, it was the one on DS where you had to put the special cartridge in the bottom of the DS in the Game Boy Advance slot. I think it was like tilting, twisted.
Yeah, Wario
something.
Twisted.
Yeah.
So
I think that was the last.
Any thoughts on WarioWare, Stephanie?
I've not played any of the original WarioWare games, so but the trailer just totally grabbed me, and I'm definitely going to be buying that for sure. Which I know is a generic answer, but
it's so goofy looking, right?
Yeah.
Like the mini game where they're waxing the Greek statue is like,
yes.
What are you doing? Like, what is this? What did you smoke to come up with this game? You know what I mean? Like,
the crazy part of the silly side of Nintendo.
I would just like to have like a couple of drinks and play with friends, like with that kind of game.
Yeah,
sure.
Um, I think the last major game they really announced that's exclusive is Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's coming out November 12th. Finally, they announced this game at the Switch reveal, and it's finally coming out. It seems to be in the vein of the Shin Megami Tensei games and Persona and that whole series, alternate universe, slaying demons, anime teenagers going to school. You know what I mean? It's just this is another one of those, but it looks good. It looks really cool. I'm severely interested in this game.
It looks like a great entry point to the Shin Megami Tensei series. I don't see any reason why someone who has never played a Shin Megami Tensei game shouldn't pick this up if they're interested in the slightest.
Yeah, for sure.
The battle system's pretty cool in these games, where you try to you get demons to join your roster, and you fuse them in different combinations to make them more powerful. It seems like a really, really cool game.
Yeah. The only other Shin Megami Tensei game I've ever played was Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and that battle system looks just like Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, it's probably a lot deeper because that game was pretty simple, but
the UI is so similar.
Yeah. So that's why I'm excited, because I played through Tokyo Mirage Sessions twice now, and definitely ready for another one of those.
Yeah. And I think they did a great job showing gameplay during the Treehouse Live. That was another game that they played there, and I got to see the different mechanics. And Jacob, as you mentioned, I've never played one of the games in that franchise, but seeing the gameplay, I feel like I could just jump right into it and become a fan.
Mm-hmm. I think it's smart too to not have these games connected character wise. It's almost like Final Fantasy a little bit, where there's similar themes and maybe Easter eggs and characters that show up in all the games, but they're not connected. So I think that's really smart too. I do want to mention at least the rest of the games here, but is there any other games that anybody wants to talk about that we haven't mentioned in depth yet? I mean, they announced a lot of games, so
clearly Just Dance 2022.
Oh yeah, I already pre-ordered that guy. I think I'm going to subscribe to the subscription service too, the unlimited.
It's not coming to the Wii for the first time.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
This one.
So I haven't been able to talk about this one on a podcast yet, but they did show Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which I am so excited for.
Yeah.
Dude. It looked so good.
I wanted to talk about this. We talked a little bit about it on the Ubisoft, but I felt like there is only a couple people on that panel that didn't look at me like I was the strangest person in the world. Right. But Dan, dude, that morning we had a conversation that morning when this page went live on Nintendo's website. It was like, oh my God, I was telling Stephanie, I was furiously typing. I had a baby in this hand. My daughter was on the floor. I'm trying not to make sure she's alive while I'm furiously typing with one hand. Then I posted it in the Discord. I'm like, this might need a little editing. I was typing with a baby in my hand, but it was that game, it looks so good.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my day, but maybe we were in a minority there. But...
We definitely were in the minority there.
And it seemed like the battle system was changed up a little bit in the trailer as well. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like it was as it seemed like you could move around a little more freely in it than actual just choose a square to be on and shoot. I don't know, maybe if that was just the way it looked on how
cinematic thing.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I like the trailer where Mario, they're on the spaceship or whatever. By the way, spaceship. This game seems like it's going to be way bigger than the first game, right? Because the first game had the four kind of biomes of the Mushroom Kingdom, but this looks like we're going to space. There's a little bit of Starlink in my Mario Rabbids here. I don't know if I'm prepared.
Star Fox shows up.
Yeah.
Star Fox.
What if he does? Maybe that's the expansion for this one instead of Donkey Kong. Maybe it's Star Fox.
Oh.
Or maybe it's going to be called Mario Rabbids, Mario Galaxy 3.
Okay.
I
That works.
man, now all I want is the Star Fox expansion to this game that's not out yet. That'd be really cool though. But I like how they were ready to go, and they look back and like the Rosalina Rabbids just kind of like, fine,
Chilling there.
guess I'll
Unbothered.
show up. It's good. It's a good trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's gonna be a great game. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
It looked like the CGI and everything looked really, really good too. Like it looked like a beautiful game.
Yeah, definitely does. What? Sorry, Jacob. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I got really confused because I kind of like blacked out there for a moment, and I came back from Just Dance to Dan saying that battle mode looks really interesting, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Were you
Just Dance
imagining
changed.
Dan dance battling
Yeah,
someone in
that's what-
Just Dance?
I was. It's like, and then it didn't help because he was like, because now you can really move around a lot, and I was like, man, I gotta get into Just Dance.
Stream it, Jacob. Next
I
charity
hope so.
stream. Just Dance.
Oh,
your
dude.
24-hour.
No, 24 hour.
Yeah, your
Jacob dancing
24-hour
stream.
stream. Those last 2 hours, you have to play Just Dance the whole time.
I would wake back up probably, or I would just like
Pass out.
Yeah.
Hit your
Mario-
head on your
Mario-
desk. Bad things would happen. This would be our fault. It would all come back to this show.
Yep.
Yep. Mario and Rabbids looks really cool. I actually don't like how they've made it kind of free roam in the battle section. How you can move. I'm assuming it's within like either a certain amount of energy or a certain amount of time or something. But I really liked the grid-based system in Mario and Rabbids. I really liked like making sure that I moved certain characters like just barely so that they wouldn't be in range, but then on the next move I could really do some damage and things like that. So this seems I'm a little disappointed by that. And also getting Rabid Rosalina, but not getting Rosalina.
Oh, we're gonna get Rosalina.
We're getting
You know
Rosalina.
it.
I think she'll be there. Right?
They didn't really show Luigi or Donkey Kong either, right? And I'm assuming they're coming back, right?
Well, in the first game, you always got the rabbit before the character.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you got like Rabid Luigi when he was, or Rabid Luigi and Rabid Peach at the beginning.
Yeah. I
But
think
then you get like Rabid
yeah,
Yoshi,
right.
who was captured by the coffin guy.
yeah.
And then you get your okay, yeah, that's right.
Except Mario, Rabid Mario. Is
Obviously.
Yeah. That game's coming in 2022. So be prepared. All right. Anybody else have any games they want to talk about real quick before we?
I do want to shout out. So Life is Strange Remastered.
Yes.
It's finally coming to Switch.
Finally.
Yeah, and then they announced that True Colors is coming to Switch as well when that releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I adore those games. So if anybody hasn't played them before, they're just like really good adventure games, or really good narrative choices. A really good indie music, like licensed music, is probably my favorite part about that entire series. So yeah, I highly recommend. And the Danganronpa games are coming to Switch too, which is like it's like a puzzle visual novel. I never finished the first one actually, but I know a lot of my friends talk about them all the time.
Yeah, I hear a lot of things about those games all the time.
You left a very key word out of it too.
What, Vita?
No, puzzle, visual novel, horror.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not a horror. It's a cute little teddy bear with a knife. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Kids, like these high school students that get trapped in like a facility because each of them have like a special talent. So there's like, this kid is the best at baseball. This kid is the best at singing or theater or whatever. And I think with the bear, Monokuma traps them on, then he kills one of them. And then you have to figure out I forgot how it works. You pretty much have to figure out who killed the student, and then you kind of go to trial. And yeah, it's a little bit of Ace Attorney mixed in there too. It's really, really neat. So
I don't want to beat a dead horse. Oh, were you going to say something, Jacob? About
No.
that?
You go first.
I just want to make another shout out to Mario Golf, because I know we're all expecting it's coming out soon. But again, they played a lot of it in the Treehouse live, and it just made me. I don't know how I could possibly be more into this, but the fact that there's such a variety to this game, like it's not just you're playing golf like in the original, which there's nothing wrong with that. But like I alluded to earlier, you fight bosses with it, you race, and all this madness that I just I just makes me want it even more.
And then the Mario Odyssey level, like
Oh,
Yes,
New
yes.
Donk
New
City.
Donk City, like
Yeah.
what was that? I
That's
thought
so cool.
like I looked up for a minute and I went back to the video and you see Mario running through New Donk City. I'm like, did they just announce Mario Odyssey 2 and I missed it or something? Like, what is happening here?
And also, you can play golf.
Yeah.
So join our Discord at Boss Rush to play some community game night Mario Golf with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
after
that'll be
E3,
happening.
we're gonna start kicking up the community game nights
I
for
haven't been
sure.
sold on. I haven't been sold on that yet because I'm not a big sports person. But I feel like I might get FOMO once I see everybody on Twitter like playing. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna have to get this game.
If it makes you feel better, Grayson, I hate golf, and Mario Golf
Yeah.
is one of my favorite games of all time. So
Okay.
They find a way to make it fun, and
Yeah.
This
then
might be the one.
so like the speed golf is what's like really making me hyped for this game. If you don't know about the speed golf, it's all 4 players tee off at the same time, and you have to like jump obstacles, collect power ups to like speed up to your ball, and you have to be the first one to get it in to win the hole. So like you're kind of just running around, jumping on each other and stuff, and it looks great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
And as they mentioned in the treehouse that they kind of hinted at it, but in speed golf, because it's about speed, you're much less likely to like pay attention to how the wind is going and what the ground you're on is like, and like it's just much more chaos. I am really interested in the battle golf arenas with the 9 holes thing. Like that seems like Mario Golf Battle Royale sounds really, really good to me. I'm interested in that.
yeah.
What I wanted to kind of mention is I feel like with the Life is Strange and with the Guardians of the Galaxy announcements, I feel like a lot of these announcements got people that aren't big Nintendo fans looked at them like, well, that's kind of dumb. They've already announced these already. And it's like, yeah, but they weren't announced for Nintendo, and Nintendo
Yep.
doesn't usually get these games. So
I-
that's really cool.
Yeah, I was
Um,
talking to Ed, especially about Guardians of the Galaxy. I was all on board to buy this for Switch, right? And then they said it was the cloud version, and I'm like, man, I was like really hoping somebody went in and actually did the work to get this to run on Switch natively, and like, you know, maybe it's not the best version, maybe it runs at 30 frames instead of 60, maybe the textures aren't as good, but like somebody would have done the work to just get those running on that game running on Switch. I've been like, man, that would have been so cool to show off, right? Like, I mean, Panic Button got doomed to run on Switch. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was really bummed when I found out that was the cloud version.
Yeah. Has anyone played a cloud version game on the Switch? Like, for example, I know that Hitman 3.
I played
didn't download it. But...
I played Control for about a half hour, and when it was running, like when it worked flawlessly, right? Like I was playing at 1080p 60 frames a second on my TV through the Switch, but I would say probably every 5 to 8 minutes or so, it would start lagging, it would freeze, it would make this crunchy audio sound, right? I was just like, I don't want to play this 20-hour game like this. When it worked, it was super impressive, and it like if the Switch had a better Wi-Fi connection or had some way to hook it straight into an Ethernet cable without some kind of weird dongle, like I would be totally okay playing these games on Switch like this. But
So I didn't have those issues playing Control. I just played the demo though.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know in like Japan, there's like a lot more available for cloud gaming where like they have Resident Evil 7 on cloud gaming.
they have
out
Assassin's Creed Odyssey out there.
Assassin's Creed.
there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I would totally be on board to play these games, but like I don't know what it is. Like I have a good router, like I have fiber internet, right? Like I'm not like pinching pennies on my internet here. I don't know, maybe it's just, you know, a cement wall and my Switch is in there and my router's in my office. Like I don't know what it is.
Well, so the Switch actually limits how fast it can download and upload things. Even if you have it hardwired into a connection, you won't get nearly your full connection speed. Like not even close. I think it caps at 46 megabytes per second.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
But yeah, that was kind of interesting to me. That people online seem to be kind of very negative towards these announcements for Nintendo fans, and that seemed a little odd because it's not like they got announced. Like the Square Enix presentation that showed Guardians of the Galaxy didn't say Nintendo Switch. So
yeah. I like it when companies. I mean, I know not every company has to do this, but it's really nice to see when companies actually make the effort to make these run natively, right? But there's all these bleeps and bloops going off. But yeah, it's. I mean, I guess cloud. Like, I don't know. This cloud stuff kind of bothers me a little bit, but that's a conversation for a different day, I guess.
But at least it's a way to play the game.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Maybe I just had a bad experience. Maybe I could try again with something, right? Maybe this will be the game that I try it again with and see. Maybe the tech's gotten better or whatever. However, they're streaming this cloud version is different from the one that I played. I'll try it out. I'll bite the bullet. I'm calling it here on the Direct Recap show. I'm gonna do it. Anybody else have anything they want to point out? I do have one that I'm excited for that nobody else probably is excited for, but Cruisin' Blast looks awesome. I want to drive a unicorn through a dinosaur infested volcano. Okay. That sounds awesome.
Is that a new game or is that like
it's a brand new cruising game. The first one since I think they said 2011 on Wii or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm excited. I loved Cruisin' USA and Cruisin' World on the N64. Let me tell you, beating that and unlocking the school bus and just ramming people over with the school bus in that game was awesome. So good. So good.
Well, you're not alone. Danny Boy from the Otter Kingdom community was very excited about Cruisin'. So there's at least two of you.
Yes. Yes.
Are hyped for it.
Yeah.
Fatal Frame is a great horror series if you've never played it before.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it was originally a digital release on the Wii U here. It's getting a physical version on the Switch. It's also coming to other platforms for the first time since the PS2 era, so that's cool. Monkey Ball Banana Mania, I think is going to be cool. What does it include? Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 and Deluxe, and then a couple new things they added. So that looks cool. Mm-hmm. 2 Point Hospital or 2 Point Campus has that written just all for me. Somebody who likes Roller Coaster Tycoon and stuff. That's something there. The one thing I am surprised that they announced today that they're getting, because they didn't do this for Wolfenstein, was Doom Eternal DLC is coming to Switch. That's cool. Just because I played through the first Doom and Wolfenstein 2 on Switch. Granted, not the best way to play those games, but they were good versions of the game. And Wolfenstein 2 didn't get any of the DLC, and I was really disappointed. But that's coming too. And, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Ooh,
really excited to play that on the go. I will double dip for that because I have been playing the Xbox Series X version. But going from 120 frames a second to probably sub 30 is probably not going to be. It's going to be an experience. But that's I think that's going to wrap up our discussion for the Direct Recap show. Anybody have any final thoughts on E3 overall or the Direct or just anything? I know some people thought that this E3 was a little bit, what do you say, quiet?
It was not great.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like someone who had to watch. I didn't have to, but I watched most of the presentations for work and just to be informed about everything. A lot of them were they just didn't have the right announcements. They weren't really anything, oh my God, crazy hype reveals. And just so many of these presentations, they focus on one game for such a long time, and I feel like that was a recurring theme throughout many of these events. Like Capcom's presentation yesterday, like showing like 15 minutes of Ace Attorney and things like that. Where like, listen, I love Ace Attorney, but like nobody really wants to see that much of that game. It's not a fun game to watch someone demo. But I think Nintendo not only had really good reveals, but the pacing was on point. I feel like where there was never any time during the showcase where I felt bored, where I felt like it was too long. It just kept coming and coming and coming. And, you know, they had these small sections of time where they showed games I wasn't super interested in, but those games, they sped through them. And I totally appreciated that. I feel like they were so smart in knowing which games to show off and which games not to show off too much. It was just like a perfect amount of time. I really loved it. And I just think it was also a great showcase for like their B tier IPs like WarioWare and Metroid and some other and Advance Wars. You know, we didn't have like this big crazy fall title that's gonna sell millions and millions of copies, but we got a lot of reveals for franchises that have been dormant for some time. So I just really appreciated them doing that. I do think that a new Nintendo fan watching this might have been disappointed because they probably never played a WarioWare or a Metroid. But I mean, you have Zelda in there. You got some third.
It's always a good time to start playing WarioWare and Metroid. New Nintendo fans.
It's never a bad time to start. But yeah, I think this was one of Nintendo's like best direct presentations, just in terms of reveal and also just like the pacing of it all. It was great.
I also really appreciate that they actually were like showing gameplay of the games, right? Like a lot of the stuff that we saw earlier on, you know, I give Square Enix credit, them too, because like they showed off. I mean, granted, it was like 28 minutes of their 46-minute presentation, but they did a deep dive on Guardians of the Galaxy and they showed gameplay, and it was a little choppy, it was a little chunky, but I appreciate that they showed that because now I know what the game looks like. I know how it plays. I'm more excited for that now than I would have been for the trailer that they showed at the beginning. It was cool, but like Nintendo showed a lot of gameplay, a lot of interesting things, I would say a lot of niche titles that might draw people to the console, right? Like Danganronpa is a huge get for them for that niche audience, right? Like it's not going to sell 1 million units, but it's going to probably sell 50, right? Especially people who are abandoning their Vita for Switch, you know, and still want to play those games. It was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, overall E3, I think people had too pie in the high expectations from everybody. Like, we're coming off of 18 months of COVID, so production just hasn't been the same over the last year. So to expect a lot of like huge development games to be dropped, like shadow dropped after all of this, I think that was just kind of an unrealistic expectation, and people were kind of just celebrating their games that they have right now. Nintendo definitely won with the shadow drops. Microsoft, they absolutely killed it. The new Halo looks fantastic. You know, so the two out of the big three that showed up, they killed it. I think everybody won that showed up at least, except Bandai Namco.
But they had games in during Summer Game Fest that looked great, like Elden Ring and Tales of Arise are games that people are going to play.
Didn't like do anything with that, but you know, I think the big loser is Sony, right? Like, who the hell? Like, why the hell didn't they just do a state of play?
I don't know if they have anything really to show right now, right? Their two big releases for the year are already out right now. Like Horizon, they just did a state of play a couple weeks ago, and they didn't
have to do that then. You know what I mean?
Like, you're right, they didn't, but they did, and now nobody's thinking about Horizon, right?
Right, and there's so many people that I know that have said like, oh, I've been teetering between Xbox and Sony, and now they're leaning towards Xbox because their presentation was that good.
And not just their presentation, but the fact that, you know, all you need is a controller and a Game Pass subscription this fall, right? Because of the smart device streaming, or you know, you can get a Series S for $300. A Series S for $300 and a Game Pass subscription is all you need to enjoy these games, right? And Man, and the deals that they're making, right? Like Outriders is there. Back for Blood's coming in October. Halo, Forza Motorsport 5, with the promises of Halo or Fable, Perfect Dark, the next Gears, the next, Psychonauts is coming there. Wolfenstein, like all the Bethesda stuff. You just keep adding it up and adding it up and adding it up, and you're looking at Sony like, where's your answer to this? It's not that nobody appreciates your single player awesome games, because God of War is an amazing game, Horizon's an amazing game, Spider-Man's an amazing game, Uncharted. But at some point it's going to be the Netflix effect, right? Where people will stop going to the movie theater to watch, they'll stop going to the movie theater to watch a great movie to stay at home and watch a good movie, right? And that's what Game Pass is now, right? A cheaper box, a cheaper subscription model with I counted Xbox Game Pass games after the presentation. There's 412 games on Xbox Game Pass. And if you go to the PC side, there's games you can't get on Xbox to play on PC for $15 a month. Right. You have access to 412 games. So,
yeah, they don't have an answer right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, my final thought just too with the Direct. I love the Direct. I love seeing so many series revivals, and I loved seeing just stuff that sparked interest for everybody. Like that was one of my favorite Directs I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that I'm kind of surprised wasn't there is Bayonetta 3. That's like the one game I'm kind of surprised.
But their lead developer said that there is no news and it's not going to be coming out for a bit.
I know, but I don't know. I kind of just expected like an update at least on that, but that's all. I'm not. It didn't ruin the Direct for me. It didn't ruin the Direct at all for me. I thought this Direct was awesome. That was just like the one thing I'm like, they announced this in 2018 at the Game Awards, and it's like 3 years later almost. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're working on Babylon's Fall, and I know they got a lot of other projects in development right now, and they're working on their publishing arm, and Nier's been really successful for them. So
yeah.
I did wish we got a Monolith Soft game though.
Yeah,
like
that's
a Xenoblade or a new IP.
That's the other thing too. Their new IP and hopefully Xenoblade 3 at some point. Mm-hmm. Well, Nintendo Direct. What Jacob?
I have words. I have words, and I didn't get to come on to the Monday night show. I think it was Monday or maybe Sunday show. Square Enix, how dare you get my hopes up by saying that you're remastering Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and then you show Steam and mobile.
I know.
And then, this is the worst part. One game announcement later, you say, and now we're talking about mobile games.
Yeah,
It's like they were mocking us.
I got more excited for the final. I jumped off of my couch screaming yes.
Yes, especially when you start seeing the logos do like the fancy like pop-ups and slide-ins and stuff, and you're like, they're doing it. Like, they're doing it. They're finally doing it.
I was screaming yes, and then I saw Steam and mobile, and I yelled the loudest "what?"
Yeah,
I was like, ever yelled.
I was like, even if they're not going to bring them to Switch, which they should because they're all Nintendo games, but even if it was just like some sort of weird PlayStation thing, right? Like,
at least it's on something.
Yeah.
And those games are already on Steam and mobile.
I know.
You can't play them on the other system. Oh my God! I've been mad about this since it happened, and I've not calmed down.
Here's the thing though, and I heard this on a podcast, and it is a good point, right? With the way that account systems work now, and all the games are attached to your accounts, they only have a limited amount of times to re-release these games and make it an event one more time, right? I guarantee you there will be a separate release for PlayStation. there will be a separate release for Switch, and there will be a separate release for Game Pass at some point, just to say, here's these games. We can't sell them anymore because backwards compatibility exists. So here you go.
No, that doesn't matter anymore. If it's not a 2.5 HD like the Octopath Traveler style remake at this point, I'm not buying. I'm boycotting it. I don't care how bad I want to play it. That was an absolute slap in the face. And I've never I don't even care. Like I went into the Square Enix presentation with I had no expectation whatsoever, and they betrayed me.
They lifted you up and broke you down.
They did.
I am a broken
did it
man
again.
because of this. And the nerve to say, and now we're announcing mobile games. Like, no.
Well,
also
technically,
talk about
PC isn't mobile.
I don't care.
I guess
PC and anyone that this is an entire podcast is me ranting about this because I have feelings.
I was going to say, I absolutely.
No, go ahead, Stephanie. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love how we started with this awesome reading from Hentai versus Evil and ended with Jacob's rant. It's just the perfect.
It is. It's the perfect wrap up. So, anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching this entire weekend of E3 coverage here at Boss Rush. Thank you for sticking around for the direct recap show. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Greysun, for coming on and hanging out with us and taking time out of your schedule to hang out and talk. It's
I'm always down to talk Nintendo. So
yes. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Obviously, I'm sure anybody that you've talked to has told you that. So if you like this episode, remember to follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, download Nintendo Pow Block podcast on your podcast service of choice. Remember to leave us a nice review, a 5-star rating. And regular shows will resume next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Good night.
How dare you, Square Enix?
Metroid!
We're gonna record
This should be the new. Every show on Boss Rush Network should start with a dramatic reading.
Yeah. It's like a segment.
That's our niche.
Yep.
All right, guys. Here's our dramatic reading of the third-person shooter adventure, Hentai versus Evil. Rescue anime girls from hordes of demons and zombies. Sometimes a little zombie killing and demon slaying is all you need, but a dash of naughty flavor to spice things up certainly can't hurt, right? In Hentai vs. Evil, demons have invaded the city, the suburbs, and even the beach, turning the residents into flesh-eating zombies and throwing cute girls into cages. It's time to stop the madness. Rescue those girls, have them join your ranks as you take down the source of evil in a rain of bullets, and look good doing it. Featuring 3 playable characters, all customizable to your liking, Hentai vs. Evil offers a hedonistic action experience that prizes freeform fun above all else. Navigate wide open stages on foot, utilize a variety of weapons, and take down your foes. Survive by grabbing power-ups, and make sure no waifu gets left behind.
Oh, no waifu left behind. Let's snap to that.
Do we want to read the in-game features?
I mean, you kind of have to, right?
Yeah, now that you just kind of giggled about it. So.
Features: survive against demons and zombies in free-roaming 3D action. Unlock playable characters by rescuing them from cages. Customize the girls' appearances with cute outfits or less clothing. Find and use a variety of weapons. Challenge yourself to alternate play modes. And select from multiple difficulty settings. This game is rated M for mature.
Thank you, Corey.
You don't say.
You're welcome.
Way to kick off the podcast.
I'm sure that's what everybody tuned in to watch when I said it. We're talking about the Direct. Oh.
But first, Hentai versus Evil.
Yeah. But first.